Hello, welcome to episode 94 of We Have Issues. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Stevie Wildcard.
And every week, Stevie Wildcard and I get together and we do our best to take all of our issues and we sing beautiful songs to lure our issues into the sharp rocks of our productivity. We make them crash. We destroy our issues. We're like beautiful, not necessarily beautiful, but we're like monstrous sirens that do whatever we can to just defeat our issues and get.
We're basically Florida manatees. Well, at least I am.
I didn't know that was a thing, Steven. Is Florida manatee? Steven.
I think they're called Indian river manatees.
Okay,
they
I
have
heard,
a subspecies.
Steven, what just happened here was different than the thing that you just meant to say. Steven, when you said manatee, I heard centaur, but half manatee. I heard manatee. So I was like, yeah, we're basically manatees.
Well, now that's a thing, and that's exactly what I was doing. I'm an author. I'm an author, and you have read my subtext so well that you have figured out my ingenious writing ploy.
Listen,
with
David
man.
Lynch, we get it. You can't just accept whatever cool interpretation people say of your work. It's mine now. No, but now I like it, Steven. Now I like manatees. Now we're manatees. We sing beautiful songs. We are the sirens of Florida. We do meth. We hang out with gators. Well, we are.
I totally do meth. It's very apparent in my physical appearance that I'm just
the two of us, Steven. Stop it. But every week, Stevie Wildcard and I get together. We do our best to do something and make something comic booky in the world. Most recently, it's been a supernatural action comedy horror comic called Deathless. And dude, it's going amazing. It's going phenomenally. We ran a Kickstarter for it, and we were super successful. Now we just finished this freaking thing, Steven. How's it going? How did you do this week?
I basically finished. I have one panel left on the other page that I said I was going to do. So I did finish.
What I'm hearing is you failed, Steven. You said basically. That's like you can't qualify things. You can't be like I succeeded if I also finish this. No, that's called failing, Steven. That's failing.
I'm just saying it's pretty impressive.
We're in this together. You and I equally failed this week. Is what I'm saying. Just like.
I'm just saying that the new page is pretty, like, there's a lot going on in it, and a lot of the shots are pretty cool. So, like, I think,
okay, so Steven drew this amazing page, of course. And I'm going to say, of all the things that I may have failed this week, you know what I really succeeded in doing, Steven?
Pointing out the feet?
I directed the best, like page direction. I was like, you know what, Steven? If you did this one thing, it would just boost this by like 300%. And you were like, enhance. And I was like, that's how art works.
That's how he gets his 86%, 84%?
88%, Steven.
88%
of the work.
88 miles per hour.
Yeah. Dude, so I love this page. I think it looks really good. I think everything you've been working on looks freaking great. I can't wait. Like, people are going to love it. I got a lot of coloring done this week. I also had a freaking allergy attack from hell this week, Steven. It just lasted. It was the kind of allergy attack that, like, when it happened, it was like, oh, can I have all of your face? I was like, why? Am I going to be an extra in Indiana Jones? And then it was like, yep, yes, you are. You're going to be an extra in Indiana Jones. We're remaking that movie on your face. Here it is. And I just melted, and I was like, it's like, my girlfriend's cat is the Ark of the Covenant, Steven. That's the thing. It's like, it is, and like, because she's glorious. She's wonderful. She's beautiful. Everyone wants to be around her and, like, have her in their life. But Steven, I'm allergic. And, like, sometimes that results in like a crazy flood situation, an endless torrent of just nasal juices.
You need to get like a Bane mask that you wear when you go over there.
She's like, you're the bane of my existence, Cat, and I love you.
You merely adopted the purr. I don't know. I was gonna go with that. I don't really have any other puns I could throw. So.
But dude, so it was my day was a catastrophe. Steven nailed it. But no,
dude, and not to mention, like, even me, like Tina and I this weekend, like, just the ragweed and stuff that's all blossoming, like, you know, because of all the rain we've been getting in Florida. Yeah, it was a tough weekend for allergies for anyone that's allergic to anything. It was a bad weekend for allergies for sure. Yeah, on top of cat too. I mean,
bad time, Bob. It's a tough time for allergy survivors. But yeah, dude. So I was going through that. It destroys my face. Like, when it happens, it just, like, it won't stop. And for anyone who goes through it, like, you know, you can't breathe out of your nose at all. So then it becomes like, I'm not used to being a mouth breather. Like, I'm like, what would I, like this? Am I doing it?
And mouth breathing feels so unnatural that like it makes you feel like it can lead to an anxiety attack, basically, for me. Like it's
well, that's what happens, dude, is like, and then what happens is nighttime comes and I stupidly I forget that like my whole night's gonna be affected by this. Like my sleeping pattern isn't like my sleep schedule isn't just gonna be like, hey, you know what you do? Do the thing you normally do and everything's gonna work out just fine. No, it's like you lay down. When you close your eyes, you realize that your nostrils are just brick walls and there's not a single bit of air getting through them. So now you have to open your mouth, but now it feels like you have to force yourself, and I'm manually breathing. And when you feel like you have to consciously focus on something, it's not necessarily conducive to a good night's sleep, Steven.
No.
It's not like my normal method of going to sleep is I put something on that I don't have to pay attention to and don't want to pay attention to. I close my eyes and I basically I kind of meditate. Like I focus on nothing. Like I don't think about anything. When I was younger, I used to like actively try to think about things, and I'd be like, oh, maybe I'll dream about this. And what would happen is I would focus on it, and then I'd have cool ideas, and then I'd stay up, and it would just like cycle through. Now I'm like,
you get excited.
Yeah. So now I'm like, I'm gonna think of nothing. I'm gonna actively like, I'm just gonna just like hear thoughts, dismiss them, keep going, and then I fade into nothing, and it just happens. It's magic, and it's like this is the best system ever. It's like a nighttime meditation. I couldn't do better, you know. It's like I don't have time for this during the day, but at night when I'm trying to like find like the dreamland, and I find that's amazing. I'm so happy. Nope, not the case this time, Steven. I closed my eyes. I was just like, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And I was like, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like listening to this Tony Hawk documentary, and he's like. Then he starts being like inspirational. I'm like, I love you, Tony Hawk. I love this. And I can't breathe, and I don't know what I'm doing. I can't go to sleep. And it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. And so I'm gonna blame everyone, including Tony Hawk, except myself, for not getting stuff done this week. I blame the cats.
Yeah, the cats. And then yesterday or Sunday, when you basically were saying that you might have to film on Tuesday, I like was drawing, and like Tina was watching House, which I've been watching. I've been like partially watching House. I forgot how fun that show kind of is. Like I do enjoy a lot of the episodes. But what?
Steven, I hate to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Tina's been rewatching it, so you've been going through it. Is lupus as frequently mentioned as it is in my head?
There has been there's been at least 2 episodes. The viral scan is very common, obviously. Whatever they call that, get the kit, whatever that kit's called. He says that often. I actually just saw the God episode recently. I remember that episode actually.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a line from that episode that actually stuck with me where she says, you know, when I see a movie trailer, am I going to be alive when that movie comes out? And that line actually, like I told you, like I actually forgot she said that in this episode, but I remember when I heard that line back in the mid 2000s, and that stuck with me. Like, wow, man, like I'm eventually going to get to an age where I'm going to be questioning that. Like when Thor 22 is coming out, I'm going to be like, am I going to be alive for Thor 22? Like, you know, that's
I mean, I get and of course we could question that now. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it to Love and Thunder, but I know what you're saying. Like, that's crazy.
That's like when you have like a death sentence, you know?
Yeah, that's nuts.
Like she had cancer, and she's like, "Am I gonna be able to see that movie?" It's like, damn.
Oh,
yeah. No, I've been listening to it in the background typically, but like, so on Sunday night, I was drawing and she was watching it, and I just assumed it was like 10 o'clock. But I must have been really into the drawing because I was like, oh, you want to, yeah, let's go get something to drink and we'll go to bed. And she's like, yeah. And I like went out to the kitchen, and it was almost 1 o'clock. I was like, what happened? What do you mean it's almost 1 o'clock? I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe like how late it was.
Like that black hole artistic time jump that happens.
It's nuts.
That flow is crazy. And I think like, honestly, like I think sometimes that's what keeps me away from the page. Like with writing it, that's what keeps me away from coloring. Because I'm like, I know what'll happen. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to look down, and when I look up, I have to go to sleep. And if I do that, my days seem to go faster. And I'm like, crap. And then like, so I get into this like weird spiral of like, oh, I know I should be productive, but I also don't want to just rush through my days. And I want to feel like I'm actually like being productive, but also enjoying my life. And like, what am I doing? You know, so it's like, dude, like I've felt that so many times with coloring this comic so far, where it's like, it
makes sense too, because what I was drawing were the Jeeps, you know what I'm saying? And that's a lot of like, you know, it's just tedious work. It's just like, you know, line work. And I'm just like, that makes sense because that's what coloring is. It's very tedious. So you're so hyper focused in it that like, the time just disappears. I don't know. It was nuts though. But I mean, I'm glad I did it because I got a lot of time in on that page basically. So I can't complain, but
yeah, dude,
it cost on my Monday, like day at work. Like I I mean, I work in the sun, so because
I
I still got up at 4 to work more on the drawings. That's like what my thing is, you know. So like, it was good that we recorded tonight instead of Monday.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I've been so bad with time management lately. And it's weird because I mean, and you know, honestly, I know myself well enough to know that I go through this cycle. Like, I go through a cycle where it starts off like this. It starts off where I'm like, I need to do stuff, and I'm like, I'll get it done. And then I notice that I'm not getting it done. So what I do is I hyper fixate, and I hyper like I become super orderly, where I'm like, I need to do this at this particular time, and I need to do this at this particular time, and I make little notes on my phone, and I use alarms, and I say like, you need to write 5 pages today, 5 pages tomorrow, 5 pages this day, and whatever, you know, I do this, color this much this time, you know, and like do that. And I have very specific goals rather than the broad general goal that I start off with, because I feel like, you know, if you say, I want to color a page today, you can sit down and be like, oh, I'm going to color this background a little bit. And then like something happens and you get mixed up and you're like, and like maybe you get lost because you have other stuff you have to do. Something comes along and you get interrupted, and then you have excuses and you're like, oh, a whole page feels daunting. It's okay that I didn't get it done. And then you constantly push those, that you push the goalpost a little, and you say like, it's okay that it didn't get done, because that's a lot to get done in a day. But then, since that's all you're ever telling yourself to get done in a day, it's never getting done, because you're constantly pushing the goalpost and you're like, it's fine, it didn't get done. That's a lot to do in a day.
And then suddenly it's Monday.
So it's like, wait, that wasn't a lot to do in a week. It was just a lot to do in a day. So what I should have done is I should have said, I'm going to color 2 characters tonight. I'm going to color 2 characters tomorrow. I'm going to color the background the next day, and I'm done. But instead, I kept pushing the goal, you know, kept pushing it because it was so much to do in one day. And because of that, I'm like, oh, it's too much. It's fine. It's excusable. But the truth is, it's not excusable in a longer, larger, you know, in like a larger time frame. It's not for me, at least. You know, like some people are like really against the like, you know, the grind or whatever. But like I'm someone who like I have a goal.
Dude, we basically have to dark slide on everything because of our jobs and everything that we need to be grinding on that grip tape. That's what we got to do right now. And eventually we'll grind enough to where we can get to a point where we can breathe a little more.
Yeah, dude, 100%.
That's the goal. I mean, like, because like right now, if we're capable of doing what we're doing while being like, you know, full-time fathers, full-time jobs and all of that, once some of that time gets knocked off, we're going to be able to not grind as hard. But if we keep close to this, you know, if we're able to spend what we like, for example, me, typically my stretch days are Saturdays. That's when I can get my most time in. But if I can make Saturday happen 3 days a week, 4 days a week now, that's a huge deal. Like that means that like 1 to 1.5 pages a week gets jumped up to 4 or 5 pages a week, which pushes us much closer to a monthly issue. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's all, you know, I don't mind the grind. I being someone that has anxiety and stuff like that, like grinding, like, and having like things to do, like keeps me preoccupied. So I don't even mind it at this point, you know?
It's just for me, like I like I said, I know I have my kind of cycle that happens, and like right now where I am is I'm in like the chaotic part where it's like entropy set in, you know, where it's like I had my system, everything was down to a T, and then like I slowly started going like, oh, well, I don't have to be as exacting in this moment with this thing. It's fine. And then I was like, oh, it's okay. And I started like excusing little things, and now it's chaos. And now it's like, now I'm back to like the beginning of that hero's journey where I'm like, I need to set off again, knowing, you know, all the lessons I learned from the previous mistake that I made. So I'm gonna go again this time, and I'm going to actively, like, rather than say, I'm going to write the whole thing, I'm going to be like, I'm going to write 5 pages, or I'm going to do this on this day specifically, you know? So I'm going to start doing that and like breaking it down into panels and pages.
I should probably do that too. And just like instead of saying like, okay, just do what you can during the week and then Saturday really push. Maybe I need to set it up so it's like, do this panel on Wednesday, do this panel on Thursday. And then, you know, stuff like that. Although I only have basically 2 pages left, which is nuts. Like that's so crazy. And then obviously we're gonna go through, put all the faces in. We got touch-ups to do, but touch-ups are like so easy. That's like, I can touch as we're going through the production part of it, putting bubbles in.
Even everyone's a mermaid in our book now. From now on, everyone's a mermaid. Where it's an under the sea book. It's a SpongeBob related. You
know what's been crazy for me as each page has gone is like, there are some that are still really strong structurally early on, but like artistically, it's crazy like how more detailed some of the pages have gotten, even when compared to the pages that I thought were already super detailed. Like I'm like, man, like my inking techniques are getting like cooler, and like the intense lightings are getting cooler. Like, you know, like,
oh yeah, you're being really, in a good way, being really heavy-handed with the inking in this in this book, whereas like I mean, previously, like in your life in general, you've had like cleaner inks, and like you haven't been using shadows. It's been more simple. And like I like both styles, but I really like what you're doing with this book, and I think it works.
It's on the earlier pages, and I should try to remember that, but like this last little chapter that I've been working on of this issue, it is an intense lighting, so it's been fun to like kind of like. It helps me see like the way I do the hair. I'll give you guys all a little quick lesson, because the hair looks pretty dang good in almost every panel it's in. I literally draw a huge black blotch of a shape, and then I take the pen tool and I make it an eraser tool, and I erase lines, and then I add some lines, and then I erase, and I just create the texture by taking away the black instead of adding the black. So it allows me to do like more bends and stuff like that into like the waves of the hair. So it's been like, dude, like I can literally, when I was first drawing his hair, the character's hair, that part would take me so long, and I got hair down to like less than 5-minute process now. Like it's like so quick. It's like
that's
just
awesome,
simple, which is awesome, because he's obviously, I mean, the hair is going to be a part of it for a while, even when he does start to shift and stuff, when we're going to show his face more. It's still going to be, I mean, he still has long hair, so it's still going to be a thing. So, but yeah. So the inking, it's been crazy to see that even like the pages I swore were like so much better than, like, it's cool. It's like, oh my gosh, this page is cooler than that. I still don't think that the first 3 pages are just still so epic though. And I think it's just because of the content too. Yeah, but
I mean, we're gonna get back there. I mean, we're gonna get back to like crazy fun things to draw. I mean, the second issue is gonna start off with fantasy creatures.
Which is gonna be fun, and you can see the excitement in my pen work. When there's something on the page that's not human, like you, 100%. Any page where there's something that's not human on it, like you can see it. You know.
Oh, speaking of fantasy creatures, Stephen, I have just before. I mean, I want to make this a short, sweet episode, Stephen, but I do want to get into one thing with you, because one of my favorite things we've been doing lately is a segment called the Monster Test, Stephen.
We did the monster test. I don't remember what it said. It was a quizzing success. A monster test.
So in this, it's going to be the Mermaid edition, Stephen. Stephen, it's a monster test Mermaid edition.
Starfish have mouths.
Stephen, all right, forget the monster test. Forget the monster test. First of all, forget the monster test. Starfish have mouths. Do they have teeth? What I know of starfish is that you can cut off a piece of a starfish and other starfish grow, right? Is that, or like they always grow back, right? So,
yeah, but I think, and then doesn't it like split into a whole other starfish though?
I think it does, and that's
like genetically similar, but like a whole different creature.
Terrifying, Stephen. Starfish are terrifying.
They are, but their mouths are located like here. So my point is that some mermaids wear the starfish right there
for sexual purposes, of course. Of course they do. How else can you imagine? Oh, like how else are those staying on? They're not. I mean,
they're clinging.
They're clinging mouth wise, and I don't blame them, Stephen. I'm so sorry, Amy's mom. I'm so sorry. Steven, I didn't expect to get sexy right away, but if we're gonna do let's do it.
It's so funny because actually, like for some reason, my mind went to like King Triton, like just wearing starfish, because like why wouldn't he? He's like, I got nipples too, Greg. Can you teeth me? Like,
Steven, all right, Steven, what is a mermaid? Steven, what is a mermaid?
So I'm gonna be honest. I've never my introduction to the mermaid, and it's probably the introduction to a lot of people, but my introduction is Little Mermaid. So like, I don't really have the horror lens of a mermaid, and I have heard it. So I view it more like Aquaman or like Little Mermaid, where it's like a seasiety, like where it's just, you know, these people that live underwater and they sing beautifully and they're elegant and they don't hate humans that much.
I'm gonna stop you right there and tell you I've never heard anyone say seasiety before, and it's the best thing I've ever heard in my life. So much so that I'm gonna delete you saying it, and I'm gonna have you saying it, so I can take credit like you've taken credit for my stuff. No, it's amazing. Yeah, dude, totally. That's what I picture too. But I have questions, Steven.
Okay.
Because of course, there are also sirens, and like there are similar creatures. Which from what I've read, there are different types of these like kind of harpy, siren-y creatures that are beautiful and can lure people to sharp rocks and such, and just monsters of various types. Some of them are like bird type creatures. Some of them are like mermaid-esque, siren creatures. So for the purposes of our monster test, because it's a monster test, we're gonna imagine that these are villainous creatures of some sort. So, and the reason,
and I do know the lore to some extent of like how I know like the sailors, like, oh, they lured sailors into the rocks and things like that. So, I mean, I'm not completely, but that's just where my basis was the fictional.
But for the purposes of this, they are evil monsters that are irredeemable. Like just you can't. They're evil. Steven, I want to know what happens if I'm gonna eat a mermaid. Like, okay, Steven, if I eat a mermaid, is it seafood or is it cannibalism?
I think
does it matter which side?
I think it does. I think it's a clear half and half situation. I think like you can have sushi with the tail part, and if you touch the top, it's going to be gristly and it's human. It's tough,
But okay,
tastes like pennies.
Tastes like pennies. See, what I'm imagining is I can make a fish stick out of any part of the mermaid. I mean, when you buy those fish sticks and it says made with minced meat, it's not just fish in there, but we call it a fish stick. There's all kinds of stuff. I'm sure they have seahorses in there. Unfortunately, that's just it's a terrible part of the process, Steven.
You like your mermaid, Anthony? I call it I call it Anthony's mermaid fish sticks. You just see a whole finger in there.
Maybe mermaid is like murder maid. It's a portmanteau. It's murder and maid, murder maid. But Steven, I just want to can you imagine? Okay, if they were monsters, if they were creatures of the sea, and you could eat them, right? Mm-hmm. I imagine at least the fishy part would probably be similar to fish, right? I mean, I'm
imagining a good ahi tuna, a nice piece of yellowfin tuna or whatever. It's gonna be amazing.
Now, I mean, you posited that their upper torso would be similar to humans. I'm gonna say,
actually, though,
but I don't.
But so physically, that's the way it looks. But if we're thinking about it, they breathe underwater, so they have to have a gill system, right?
Yeah,
I mean, they can't have lungs.
Different system, yes. And that's that's kind of what I was gonna ask. I'd assume that similar. That's probably what I'd think too, because they look so similar to us. But yeah, they have a whole gill system.
But wait, do they look similar to us because of the illusion they create, right? So what if they are just full on fish people?
True. Not to mention the fact that, or I don't know. That's interesting. I guess that depends too. If it's a magical kind of illusion, ooh, interesting. If it's like a glamour sort of thing. But if it's not, even if it's not, if it's they biologically they look human on the top, they look fishy on the bottom. I'd imagine regardless, they're living in salt water all the time, marinating in such a way. Mm-hmm. And
the meat would have to taste like the ocean, and that's the key to good fish. If you go to a restaurant, a good fish tastes like the ocean, it tastes like the ocean smells, basically.
Yeah.
So you're right. So the meat would be permeate. It would be just marinating. It would be
delicious, Steven. That's the thing. I'd be can you imagine? Just imagine the situation in which you have to explain to a police officer that the human arm that you're chomping into is technically a fish stick. You're just I know what you're thinking. This is not my neighbor. This is a fish from the sea.
There is no way. Let me taste that.
Let me taste that arm.
A police officer would no. In this hypothetical situation, this officer is willing to taste the evidence, and guess what? It tastes like fish.
I mean, there would be restaurants dedicated to Mermaid, right? We would. There would be sushi based on Mermaid, right? I mean, if people are going to eat octopus and they're incredibly intelligent creatures, and people are eating all kinds of things they shouldn't be eating, Mermaid would be on a menu. It would be out there
somewhere.
Someone's eating. It's going to be a delicacy. You're going to see a bunch of rich people with mermaids, and it's just going to happen.
I imagine that. I imagine that Iron Chef Bobby Flay would probably prepare Mermaid with. I was kidding.
They'd make mermaid ice cream, Steven. Have you seen that? Have you seen how they make like fish ice cream? Or it's I can't.
I have seen that in some of the like
Yeah, like
fancy, fancy cooking shows.
Yeah, like Top Chef and stuff. They do where it's like where it's like a competitive situation. I don't know. I don't know to what extent mermaids specifically are known for like calling sailors, but I would imagine that they would come up and drown people. You know, they would bring people underwater. They'd fool people into thinking they were going to save them, and then end up drowning them for one reason or another. I'd imagine cannibalism. I don't know.
Yeah, so they're eating people. So do you think there's two mermaids like under the water right now having like a podcast about how people do you think people taste like cows, or do you think they taste more like us? Well, I don't know actually. Well, they're on land, so they're not marinating in like the salt water like we are. So.
That's very true. It's very true, Stephen. Okay, obviously any situation where a mermaid is not in the water, they're going to be destroyed, right? Like you can't, that mermaid, I mean, it can flop its tail around all it wants, but it's going to be like.
But that one poll, like that, if you remember that Michelle brought up like forever ago, was like the mermaids are pretty powerful actually. Like remember Gary the mermaid, that whole situation?
Yeah. Everyone, for some reason, so what Steven's referring to is that there was a poll on Twitter in which people were bracketing monsters and creatures of various types, and mermaids basically won. They made it all the way to the end, and like I brought it up on the podcast, and I was like, a normal horse could kill a mermaid. Like a normal horse in the water would kill a mermaid, and
by accident. His hoof he would just kick, and then
his hoof, you're out. Sorry, but I don't know. But yeah, but people were all about that mermaid life, and so that's what I was thinking about it. I was like, I wish I have to know more about mermaids. I don't know. I just all that I thought of. So I sat down and I was like, what do I know about mermaids? I know that there are like they would be terrifying in a water situation. If I'm on a life raft, I'm already scared if there's a shark in the water. If there's a like cognizant, like an intelligent, like fiendish, villainous mermaid swimming around me who wants me to drown, who has like the consciousness and wherewithal and like the ability to like use their voice and arms, and like that's terrifying. That's like that would be so scary, just because. Who knows? Not to mention if there's more than one, that's even like that's
actually like a pretty good idea for like a B-rated horror movie, like an open water with like mermaids instead of like sharks and stuff. Like
honestly, like even if it was just one mermaid, that would be really cool because it's Jaws but with a character, because it's like I mean we can like Jaws is a perfect movie, but like you don't see intention in the shark's eyes. Like the shark is a shark, and it's like holy crap, like it's coming after him. Sure, it's like jumping up on the boat. It clearly wants to eat Quint when it could have been anywhere else in the world. But it's not a mermaid. It's not actively trying to deceive them. It's not trying to, it's doing what sharks can do, So it's like a mermaid, though, that's pretty terrifying, I mean, like it can come out of the water, distract people over here. It can literally use its arms to flip things or grasping. Yeah. I think like the like opposable thumbs, like grasping you and pulling you is just
that's why like the great apes and stuff are so terrifying. Like is that they can grab you and rip you and tear you because they have thumbs. Like that's scary stuff, man. So like mermaids. But I'm thinking like in like a horror movie fashion, like the different deaths that you could do with that mermaid too. Like I mean, like that mermaid could like sing and like create illusions, like you think your friend, like no, Greg's right there, he's in the water right there, we have to get him, and like they swim out there and it's just a mermaid, like that. There'd be like a lot of cool things you could do with that.
That would be cool. I love that. It's like that's such a creepy concept, just the idea of like a personal illusion that other people aren't experiencing but you can't break, like that's like a scary situation. It's like people, like your friend's shaking you and you're like just trying to, and you're in your head you're doing, you're well intended,
you're trying to save Greg, but it's
to save Greg. And there is no Greg. There's never been a Greg.
Yeah, dude, that someone do it. I mean, if not, we need to do it once we have money. But like, somebody needs to go do that. Maybe someone's done that. Mermaid.
Yes, dude. Yeah. So I guess so what Steve and I are saying is we're quitting the podcast. We're not making comics anymore. We're gonna make a mermaid murder mystery, and it's not like, can you imagine? It's like it's a bunch of people from a sinking, like a downed ship. Like a ship sinks. Everyone's like they're like, oh man, that was a crazy cruise. I can't believe I'm so glad we survived. And they're all kind of floating. They're like, yeah, I know, it's nuts. but one of them's a mermaid and they don't know it. so it's like, it's crazy how that happened. And it was clearly
it's like Saw the whole time. Like he's just there the whole time.
He's there the whole time. So it's just the mermaid just like picking people off one by one. They're all like trying to figure out who the mermaid is, and they don't know. They're like, it's too dark and murky to see the tail. They try to go under, but they can't. And it's, you know, I got it, Steven. That's what we're doing. This is our new life. This is who we are now. We're mermaid filmmakers. All right.
So yeah, we just film half fish people all day. It's like been our dream since we were since we were children.
But okay, dude. But speaking of like dreams and just what we're actually doing, I've been on our Twitter lately on twitter.com/wehaveissuespod, and dude, it's been blowing up lately. Like
which is awesome.
People are coming from like every corner of the indie comics community to like say hi and what's up and like introduce themselves and show us their cool projects. And we've gotten more DMs in the past like 3 days than we have in like 2 years. And like
that's crazy.
And we get them regularly, but in like the last 2 days, it's just been like a flood, like a whole tsunami of creators just like showing support and also like asking if they could be on our show and seeing like if we're interested in having interviews and like talking to fellow creators. And like we've obviously done that in the past and we will do it again. I'll tell you, I've been kind of waiting till we get past this memorial. And I kind of like, I didn't want to have any guests or anything on until after we get past this point. I would like to get past episode 1. I want a good guest for episode 100, like someone that we've like looked up to in some way. But after that, especially, I want to start having people on the show again, and I want to find a good way to do it. And even if it means doing separate interviews and maybe splicing parts of them into the episode or something, or just doing full episodes with people. We've done it before. We can do it again. I don't mind. We can figure it out. But it's really cool, dude. I just like I wanted to thank everyone for showing their support and showing up for us this way, because it's been really cool. And a lot of them are here. Like they're on YouTube. They're on Spotify. They're actually subscribing. They're listening. They've been like in my DMs or in our DMs, and they're saying like, "Hey, I actually checked out your show, and like I really like what you guys are doing, and it's really cool."
Awesome.
Yeah, and
it's just such a sudden boost because like I think we gained like close to 20 subs today on our channel too.
Yeah, we gained close to 20 subs today on just on YouTube, and then dude, in the past 2 days, we've gotten over 300 new followers.
That's amazing.
That's so many. Like
so many
people, and it's really cool, and it just. And it's funny because it's not like I did anything different. I just posted, I was like, hey, all right, here we go. And people responded. And it's just crazy how
it's really all it takes is for the algorithm to grab the right tweet.
Yep.
If it decides to
algorithm, just like that fickle guy.
Sometimes it does its job and actually grabs something that needs, and then other times it just sails right by. I mean, she's a fickle beast, I tell you.
Yeah, it's so true, dude. But if you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for all of your support. Feel free to share all of your books with us. Share your your websites and everything you have to share with us. Let us contact us on Twitter. Let us know you want to be on the show. And we are going to start making a list of people. We will come up with some sort of plan, and we'll find a way to get as many people as we can on the show. At the very least, I'd love to talk about more Kickstarters, and at least, like talk about a Kickstarter every episode and just be like, hey, this is happening now. Go check it out if you're interested, because I don't have an infinite amount of money, Steven. I wish I did. I wish I could like go
I try to back as many Kickstarters as I can, but it does. I mean, life's expensive right now, especially.
Dude, yeah, life's expensive and it adds up. And I'm to the point where I literally can't justify any more crowdfunding money like from me. I've given like Olin Rogers, who I've talked about in the podcast recently, who made Final Space, and I really want to get him on our show. He launched a Kickstarter, Steven. Did I tell you about this? Dude, so Olin Rogers launched a Kickstarter to make an animated short, and he's also going to release a how to make animated shorts like series based on it. And he launched a Kickstarter to do it, and dude, he made over $160,000 in a day.
Jeez.
Like disgusting money, like amazing, beautiful, wonderful. I'm so glad and I'm happy for him. I didn't expect that. I expected him to succeed. Don't get me wrong. I threw a lot of money at him, like more money than I should. But I was like, it's someone I really believe in. It's someone I really like. I've never not liked anything he's made. So I'm like, here you go, take this money. You know, like shut up and take my money. But seeing how many people like show up to support him is just like fascinating and freaking inspiring and amazing. And it just like
it makes you kind of realize too that those studios, like when they get rid of certain shows and they get rid of certain creators, it's like, I don't know if you're using these people obviously have a fan base. Is there somewhere you can put this person to still utilize their skill? It's an interesting industry for sure.
Yeah, like I can't believe you canceled this show. And now we're seeing like what, you know, the army that's there, the actual cavalry that, you know, he's created through his years of, you know, dedication to his craft. And it's really cool. And that's all we're all doing. And I think it becomes a little complicated when we're all kind of similarly trying to do the same things. We're all trying to sell our books. We're all trying to get our faces out there. So it becomes like, it's kind of like a snake eating its tail situation. It's really weird because we're constantly trying to help other people rise while also, you know, selling ourselves and getting ourselves out there and marketing ourselves to the best of our ability. And I feel like a lot of people see that as like competition, you know, like it starts to, they kind of start to like not talk about other creators. And that happens a lot. I've personally noticed that a lot on Facebook, where you go on a Facebook comic book group and it's just people going, this is my book, this is my book, this is my book, this is my book. And then it's just like the engagement isn't there. You don't see anyone talking to each other about like the struggles. You don't see anything. No one's saying like, hey man, I found this new place to print books. And I found this new, you know, like no one's talking about this stuff and it sucks. So I think that if we're going to have more people on our show, what we should do is try to like get from them whatever they can share with the community at large. So we can all kind of work together to have like, you know, the like Captain Planet power of, you know, like the power is
we're
ours.
The Planeteers.
Yeah. So it's just, I mean, because like what is a community if not a bunch of people with, you know, like similar voices, but like, you know, trying to rise together, you know, like, and that's all we're doing is like, it's, if you know something that can help someone else get out of whatever their particular sand trap is at the moment, why not share that information? Like they aren't actually competition because they're not actually writing the book you're writing. No one can write the things you're writing. No one can draw the things you're drawing. And, you know, and yes, we are all competing for the time of strangers, but there are 8 billion of us on the planet. People are going to continue to read. I'm going to continue to read. I'm going to continue to write and watch movies and do all this stuff. And so will you, you know? So it's like, we don't have to feel like we're in competition with everyone. We can try to learn from each other and try to help each other. And I like that. I like that about our show. I think it's kind of cool that we can do that. And I think that in the future, the near future, we should start having more people on and talk, you know, try to talk to people and like learn from them because we have a lot.
Create the colony we've always wanted to create.
Absolutely, dude. All right, it's getting late. I'm going to have a lot to edit.
You got a lot to edit, so let's get it all wrapped.
All right, Steven. So what are you going to do this week?
Well, we have the memorial this weekend, so I'm going to be smart and I'm going to say I'm going to finish the touch-ups on these 2 pages and then get another page done. So that should leave me with just the splash page next week. So that's my goal. That's amazing.
I am going to be equally smart because I have to finish up a memorial video, which is gonna. And
I also have to compose that instrumental of Finch.
Yeah,
so I plan on doing that tomorrow.
Oh, cool. So I'm gonna finish up the video editing. I'm going to write 3 pages and I'm going to color 1 page. That's all I'm finish up this page, you know, and that's what I'm going to do.
And then we finally get to like put this situation to some, because I know you've been feeling it too, like that unrest from this situation. So like this will be that moment we can finally accept everything that we have to accept from this moment and then like kind of grab our lives back and do what we can, you know?
So thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. If you're new here, we appreciate you and we love you. You can support us on Patreon. All of our links are below. We're on Twitter and Facebook and all of the things. You can find us everywhere and we love you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you next week. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Stevie Wildcard.
And this has been episode 94 of We Have Issues. See you next week. Steven, it's weird that we call sirens when it's like sirens are known for being obnoxious and loud and like
and their voices are supposed to be like more angelic than the seraphim or whatever. Like they're like the prettiest.
Yeah. But like when I think of police siren, I don't think like bug light. Like I need to go to there. Like I don't think I'm gonna be drawn to this thing. I think I
need to get out of its way. Yeah.
Like
not going to the disaster.
I'm not going to the disaster. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So what are in episode 94? Crazy.
Wow.
Okay.
Man. Man.